And Apple pulls its highest level of privacy protection for customers in the UK after a row with the government over security. Apple is removing its highest level of data security for customers in the UK. The unprecedented move is in response to a demand by the British government for access to users' data. Apple says it will no longer offer an encryption tool that allows only account holders to view items such as photos or documents stored online. The tech giant had previously warned that hackers could take advantage if governments insist on access to data. The British government hasn't commented.
The exploitation of children by criminals for county lines gangs will be outlawed in England and Wales.
The regulator Ofgem demands that energy suppliers take urgent action over the issue of back-billing.
A classical musician is appealing for help to find his antique violin after it was stolen from a pub in London earlier this week. David Lopez Ibanez had been given the valuable 284-year-old instrument on long-term loan to help him perform at major concerts.
We'll take a look at the papers now. The Daily Telegraph is reporting that ahead of next week's visit to Washington, Sir Keir Starmer is set to defy President Trump with new aid for Ukraine, adding that he plans to announce new military aid and sanctions on Russia on Monday, the third anniversary of its invasion of Ukraine. And The Guardian reports that the Prime Minister's talks in the United States are aimed at cooling an escalating transatlantic row following President Trump's criticism of Ukraine's leader.
Let's have a look at the Times. Leading with the Apple privacy row. That's after the corporation removed its highest-level data security tool from customers following the UK government's demand for access to users' data. And look at the Mirror for you this morning. This year's Victory in Europe Day, VE Day commemoration will be one to remember, says the Mirror. King Charles will lead the event from Buckingham Palace balcony on May the 8th, marking 80 years since the end of World War II.
Conundrum for you. It's a really good one, OK? I'm going to set the scene. There's a man who's parked his car in a car park and his bag is in there, in the car. And in the bag are his credit cards and personal papers, ID
Locked
papers.
in the car?
Locked in the car.
And he's gone away?
Yeah, he's gone about his business. Then, two people break into the car, in the car park. This is in Toulouse, in the centre of Toulouse, in southwest France. And they steal the bag, the backpack. It had credit cards, identity documents in it. Belonged to a local man in the area. So the man was like, credit cards you can cancel, but I really want my private identity papers. So he calls up the bank and is told by the bank that the credit cards have been used in a local shop. So he goes to the local shop and says, if you've got any CCTV, can you tell me who's come in? And apparently £52 was spent, or 52 euros. And the shopkeeper says, I don't have CCTV, but I do remember two homeless men coming in and spending 52 euros, right? And when the man says, what did they buy? They had bought a lottery ticket. So they'd bought this, a scratch card, sorry, a scratch card. So they bought this scratch card, and when they scratched the scratch card, they'd won 500,000 euros, €500,000, right? So they came back to the shop after scratching the card away from the shop, came back, wanted to claim it, by which time the shop owner knew that they had bought it with stolen means. So then now there is a legal conundrum, because if they hadn't bought the scratch card, then they wouldn't have won the money. But they've bought it with the man's stolen card. So the man whose backpack was stolen, whose credit card they used, has offered to split the winnings. But now the lottery company isn't quite sure if it can pay out because it was bought with stolen means.
So the legal question is, who owns the ticket?
Yeah.
And whether it's null and void because it was bought with the stolen ticket.
Even though the man whose bag was stolen is offering to share the money. What do you do?
That's a bit of a tale, isn't it?
It's a good tale. It's a good tale.